This is the Lego Rollercoaster. Rotate the crank, turn the chain, pull the ride vehicle, and whee! As impressive as it may be, from the top of the lift hill back to the start takes a mere 4 seconds. You can probably guess where I'm going with this. I bought 10 of them, and the plan is to combine them into one giant roller coaster. This is gonna be so much fun. But before any fun could begin, first came the not so fun part, sorting the pieces. Between the remaining 9 boxes there were 423 bags, comprising 37,116 pieces. Now I'm sure there are people who would derive great satisfaction from meticulously sorting tens of thousands of coloured objects into neat little piles. I am not one of them. It was tedious and miserable, and it took me 4 days, 10 trolleys, and several hundred containers to sort the bricks. There's about 5,500 of this piece, 740 of these weird spiderweb pieces, 2,000 of these little chain links, and just look at all these base plates, it's every kid's dream. I just want to quickly acknowledge the sheer amount of plastic waste this video generated. 100% of it was recycled at a specific soft plastics recycling point, and I wrote a very angry letter to Lego. So having sorted myself silly, construction work on the roller coaster could begin. Now there are certain goals I want to achieve with this project. Number 1, the roller coaster has got to reach the ceiling, or slightly lower to allow the ride vehicle enough room. 2, there's got to be at least one loop-the-loop. 3, the whole structure must be made of Lego, and 4, it's got to be really cool. I also want to create some interesting visual elements like I did for the Lego train a few months back. That video involved a rainforest dome, an underwater section, and a light tunnel, so I want to do something similar for the roller coaster. Here's a technical drawing of how it's gonna look. I built the big floor-to-ceiling lift hill first, as it would undoubtedly be the most challenging part. Building something this tall isn't as simple as just stacking bricks together. There are a number of design principles you can use in order to make the structure more stable. For instance, if I were to stack a column of these circular bricks like so, it's very flimsy and liable to collapse. By using one of these stick pieces through the middle, however, the whole column is made significantly more durable. I also use clips and these sort of spiderweb shaped pieces to anchor each column to the base plate, as well as cross beams to form a rigid grid-like structure. Most of it was trial and error, building things and then taking them down again to build a different way, but soon enough it was halfway to the ceiling. But I was beginning to realise this probably wasn't going to work. Despite my strict design measures, at just halfway the structure was really quite wobbly. Any higher and I was afraid it might topple. Okay, that wasn't meant to happen. What's more, even though it was already half the height required, the second half would actually need 3 times the amount of pieces already used again, plus then double all of that to come down the other side. And if it's this wobbly now, I'd then need to make the whole structure twice as wide to provide more stability, therefore doubling even that amount of bricks. Even with 37,000 pieces of Lego, I had nowhere near enough. I was faced with the dilemma. Either accept defeat and build a more sensible design which doesn't reach the ceiling and isn't nearly as cool, or use wood to build the frame instead of Lego. I didn't want to do either, but given the choice between mediocrity and glory, well, it wasn't even close. Isn't it just ridiculous, Bella? I split the lift hill in 2, just so the chain wouldn't be as long and liable to snapping, and added a motor to make it run automatically. Let's see, the moment of truth. Let's get it spinning. It's working, yes! Yes, it's a success. And so it was on to the next obstacle, a vertical drop through a smoke-filled chamber. The standard track pieces aren't actually suitable to create a drop like I wanted, so I'd be turning them on their side to create the angle, a trick I'd learned from countless other YouTube videos about Lego roller coasters. Since the pieces are essentially bodged together in a way they're not intended to be, they don't perfectly align where they meet the correctly used pieces, so I had to use a cable tie to make things smoother. I also had to make the drop itself shorter, as it was gathering so much speed it would just smash into the bottom, or fall off the track in some bizarre mangled kind of way. How did it manage that? After a ton of tweaking and fine-tuning, I finally got it to work. Next I enclose the sides, making sure to cut out a small hole for the ride vehicle at the top and front. I put one of the panels on hinges to allow me to access a track, for when it inevitably breaks a million times. I also cut a slot for where the smoke machine would sit. The smoke's coming out the sides. Let's get the car going. Well, it certainly works. But with this giant ugly wooden box, the whole thing was starting to look really quite unsightly and carelessly cobbled together, which it admittedly was. It was at this point my girlfriend Danielle suggested a wildly different idea. What if the entire ride was in the dark? Think Disney's Space Mountain but with Lego, and all manner of crazy lighting. My brain went into overdrive with possibilities, and suddenly this new idea was all I could think about. I'm now way too excited for that part, so here's another montage of the boring stuff in between. After what had seemed like forever, the track itself was finally complete. To put this into perspective, the average human is about 41 times as tall as a Lego minifigure. So if this 2.3 metre coaster was real and full-sized, it would be 94.3 metres tall, dwarfing the UK's biggest by over 20 metres. Pretty bonkers. It starts with the giant lift hill, before dropping into the smoke-filled chamber, then onto a wibbly-wobbly bumpy section, a dead straight section, my favourite part where the track weaves in and out of the wood, some brief hairpin bends, a third lift hill, a small loop, a big drop in a big loop which is Bella's favourite part, and a fourth and final lift hill that takes us back to the start. Now I should probably confess two things. The small loop only works about 75% of the time, meaning for every 3 successful runs, there's one spectacular failure. And the other thing, although the ride vehicle makes it round with ease, the camera doesn't always. Occasionally it manages perfectly, but most of the time it really struggles with these fast sharp turns and derails, so I'm gonna need some luck to get the perfect take. Okay, that's quite enough of that. Are you ready for the lights? How insanely cool does this look? The first lift hill takes you through a thunderstorm. I made these clouds using some paper lanterns and pillow stuffing, and with lights inside they look incredibly realistic. The second then launches you into space, a nod to the ride's Disney inspiration, with light-up planets and a projector half-heartedly shining stars onto the ceiling. There's even a moon lamp on a rotating cake stand. Next it's down into the smoke-filled chamber, then out into this very colourful section. The straight section has been turned into a light tunnel with these coloured wire lights, and I've used glow sticks for the part where the track weaves in and out. The third lift hill features the lights I originally used for the video Cats in Squares, and looks like some kind of fairground ride, which I guess it sort of is. There's also a load of optical fibre lamps scattered around, an absolute ton more glow sticks, a few of these cool sphere lights, and the occasional tangled mess of wire lighting. Plus I've attached some tiny glow sticks to the ride vehicle itself to help us follow it. And under here is my favourite light of them all. Before we begin, this has been the single most expensive video I've ever made, so if you've enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. It enables me to fund the next big project. It's time for the grand opening. Hello and welcome to the Super Mega Good Roller Coaster. Please keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, ensure your safety bar is as tight as it will go, and please do not throw up. You will be asked to clean it up. I'm also legally obligated to tell you that 1 in every 4 rides crashes horrifically, so good luck, you'll need it. How amazing was that? Granted, it was a little fast and hard to follow, but it was cool in an abstract sort of way, and just imagine if that was a real ride. This project really has been a roller coaster, full of frustration, trial and error, and ultimately delight. So I hope you enjoyed the ride and don't feel too sick. Bella certainly enjoyed herself. She's been watching it for hours. I should probably check she's alright.